political battle over rebuilding the island continues. Prior to a meeting with the Puerto Rican governor, Ricardo Rossello, today, President Trump rated the American response to the disaster a perfect 10 out of 10. A lot of people not only disagree with that, they say the relief effort is subpar specifically because Trump is racist against Puerto Ricans. Watch.
There is this double standard, which I really believe is bigoted in terms of the response that he has to Puerto Ricans.
He's talking to his electoral base. He's not talking about law or about history. He's showing up that he's just racist. Let's call it by name.
You have Hispanics in Puerto Rico. He sees them as the others, not his white supporters. These are people that do not look like the overwhelming majority of his donors.
God, there are a lot of dumb people on TV. Is Trump actually bungling a hurricane response just because he's a racist cartoon? Evangeline Gomez is an attorney and Democratic commentator. She joins us tonight. Evangeline, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
So if you're going to make the case that the federal government is screwing up a response to a hurricane, you know, I'm absolutely willing to believe that. I've seen that. They screw up a lot of things. I just don't understand the evidence for racism in this. That seems an entirely different category. Why is this racist?
Well, to the people who make that argument, they've seen his tweets, the tweets basically implying that Puerto Ricans were lazy, they weren't helping one another, they were depending on the federal government to help them when they could have done these things themselves, which was impossible. And today, when he spoke with Governor Rossello, he admitted it. You know, this is an unprecedented situation. It's worse than Katrina. Those were Trump's words, exactly. And so the tweets, the throwing of the paper rolls, that made people there feel like, what, do you think we're beneath you? Why are we getting this type of treatment? That and the delay. There are some people who think that the delay occurred because Puerto Ricans are different, somewhat culturally, different surnames, speak a different language, because they're removed, and because he does not view them as a state, and because they don't have the political power. They don't have electoral votes. Maybe if they had electoral votes, they would have received a different response. These are the arguments that are out there.
But can I just point out that they're actually not a state. It's not a state. It's a colony. It's a territory. That's a whole separate conversation. I'm not sure why the left suddenly supports colonialism, but whatever you do. But Puerto Rico, hold on, as a factual matter, Puerto Rico is 75% white, according to the U.S. Census. So I'm not sure how it's. I'm reading the census numbers. I'm not sure how that's racist. I mean, maybe he doesn't like Puerto Ricans, or maybe he did a bad job. That's all fair, but
you know,
racist?
Actually, Tucker, that's a great point that you bring up, because a lot of people don't understand that in Puerto Rico, you have the mixture of the African culture, the Indian Taino culture, and European culture. So there are many people, I mean, such as myself, I look at my background, I have Asian, I have Chinese in me. You know, there's a mixture of people, ethnicities, races. So you really can't say, I'm white, I'm black, I'm other. I mean, it's very complex when it comes to the Puerto Rican identity.
You're sort of making my point. It's very complex. I mean, the census is self-reported. So 75% of the people on Puerto Rico said, I'm white. Okay?
Well, that's a reporting, and that's based on the census, and, you know, what does white mean?
Okay, but that's what the people say they are. And so I'm only saying, look, I'm not defending the federal response to anything. I would never do that. I always assume it's going to be lame and late. Though, by the way, the DOD and FEMA were there before the storm, just so you know. But the race angle bothers me because it's unfounded. It makes people hate each other, and it's just stupid. This is a place that's more white than many U.S. states, including our biggest state, California,
including Texas. I disagree with you saying that. I mean, they're Latino, they're Hispanic. There's a difference between white and Hispanic and Latino.
What's the difference, then? What's the difference?
They're Hispanic. They're Latino.
So what is the difference?
They speak a different language.
Language isn't a race.
It's not. Language is not a race. Language is a language.
Right. So what's the difference?
The issue here is that many people feel that the response was delayed.
What you're saying
the response was delayed.
Okay. So here's
and there are people, if you speak to relatives of people who are living in Puerto Rico and people in Puerto Rico, depending on who you ask, people are going to say it was not a 10.
Okay, but
there's still people with no electricity, contaminated water.
I get it. It's not a surprise. Or Houston, Katrina. There are lots of responses the federal government's laid on. It's when you start alleging a conspiracy based on racism that it scares the hell out of people, it divides people, and there's no evidence for it. You've presented none, and that crosses a line.
That's not my argument. I did not say it was based on race. That is not my argument. You asked me why people were making this argument, and I explained to you why some people felt that way. That is it. Maybe some people should use the term bigotry. So I did not say that was my response.
But I'm wondering why, if we're against colonialism, that we maintain Puerto Rico as a colony. Why can't Puerto Rico become a country? I don't really understand that. What's the justification for keeping a country in this weird no, I'm serious, in this weird half-light where you don't pay federal income taxes, but you are American citizens, but you can't vote when you're on the island? I mean, this is colonialism.
Well, in the last election, Tucker, pardon me, but in the last election, they voted to become a state. Many people there voted for Puerto Rico to become a part of the United States. So that's exactly the reality right now, and that's something that should be discussed. A reporter today brought up that question to Trump. He said he couldn't speak about it because it was political, but these are the conversations that should be going on.
Yeah, instead of just making excuses for colonialism.
It's not lesser than Florida. They're Americans. They're U.S. citizens. Jones Act.
Yeah, they don't pay federal income taxes, so I mean, I don't know. It's a little more complicated, as you would put it. Evangeline, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tucker.